recording, and then I'm going to do the live thing too to get us going on Facebook Live. And I'll just introduce ourselves. I'll introduce us, and then we can, start to talk about the event, what people can expect from it, the presenters that are going to be there, with it being a 2-day event, what they'll get day one, what they'll get day two. We'll talk about what we want them to come away with. Just the questions that I sent to you, so that people can get an idea of the greatness that they are about to be, that they'll be a part of, and experiencing this. Oh, there you go. So there it is. Let's start that. Cool. We are on Facebook Live, so I want to welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. It's your boy Leroy McKenzie, and I'm in. And y'all will meet her in a second, Tracee. But I'm in my what I call the lab. I call it the lab because it all goes down when you're in the lab. When you're in the lab, you're doing that work, you're doing that grind, you're doing all those things that you need to be doing in order to be able to get the work done that you want to get done. So we want to welcome everybody to the lab, and we're coming to you this afternoon, quick and easy, because there is what I call the Be in the Room event coming up this coming Friday and Saturday. It's a 2-day event, y'all. 2-day virtual event. As y'all know, we're still dealing with Corona. That's still here, y'all. It is still here, regardless of all of the other stuff that we know is going on. The Corona is still here. So be careful, But this event here that's coming up this coming Friday and Saturday, I brought the creator, the innovator, the engine, the visionary behind the event. And I'm going to let her talk about the event. And we're just going to tell you all what you can expect, how we want you all to come, and you'll be able to get some great knowledge, information, and resources that will be able to take you. And if you're a writer, if you're an aspiring writer, if you're a publisher, you certainly want to be a part of this. If you're a speaker, you certainly want to be a part of this. All of those good people. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, you want to be a part of this, because we're going to be talking about all things books. We're going to talk about publishing and writing. But I want to introduce everybody to that may not already know this young lady here, and that's Miss Tracee Garner. And for some reason, I was thinking that your last name said we had a D in it. It was Gardner, not Garner. But I want to introduce everybody to Miss Tracee Garner, who is not only, she's an author as well, but she's an author, she's an entrepreneur, she is doing some big things, and we wanted to come and talk about this upcoming project and event that she has going on, that she has enabled me to be a part of, and I'm so gracious and thankful that she asked me to be a part of this too. So I want to introduce everybody to Tracee. So Tracee, if you can just tell everybody just a little bit about who you are, and then you can tell the people why we're here.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me, Leroy.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. So my name is Tracee Lydia Garner, and I've been writing for almost 20 years. My heart and love, firstly, is fiction, romantic fiction with a little suspense, and Christian-based, clean, wholesome fiction. But I've been doing that for such a long time, and I've written almost 14 books. Book 14 comes out in 13 and 14. I'm hoping will be out in the fall. I have been writing, and I'm in the middle of a series about a well-to-do African-American family from the Alexandria, Virginia area, which is where I'm from. A lot of my stories are local, and so I love writing. I do have a day job part-time as a case manager, helping people with disabilities, but my love of writing is just something that I must do. It's just a calling that I have, and really a ministry too, to show people, what people with disabilities can do in their life, with the right supports and the tools. And so writing has just always been a way for me to communicate and spread the word and entertain entertainment too.
Now, talk a little bit about the series you got going on. What's the name? What's the name of the series?
It's the Jameson Family series. What is out right now is book 2,
Okay.
called A Current Affair, and book 1, Whatever May Come, came out last year. And so book 3, The Sister, is going to release in the fall. So it's 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
And they're all in the same family, and just kind of the highs and lows and ups and downs that they go through as they navigate life and love, of course. So, they just experience different things, a lot of mayhem, because in the DC area, there's always a senator or some kind of presidential issue, always a little bit of scandal because it's right here. So I make full use of the things and happenings of the current world.
Well,
So
you got a whole bunch to write about then.
yeah, definitely. It's a lot of stuff to use. Use what you got. Use what's right.
That's cool. That's excellent. Yeah, and that sounds like a great series. Now, real quick before we get into kind of why we got here, because you just piqued my interest with your writing. Now, is your particular genre that you write in? Do you find that there are a number of other Black authors that write that particular genre? Because that sounds really, really good.
Actually, yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know unless you really just want to read, certain kinds of genres. The wonderful thing is that people can pick and choose. If you want, more thriller in your romance, then you want more romance. There are many authors out there writing that. Excuse me. And so there's such a wide array, really something for everyone to have and to use and to read and enjoy. And so the clean and wholesome genre or category of Christian fiction is really growing. People are looking for something that's not too violent, not too devastating, and just to be entertained, but still have the romance and still have the suspense. I like car chases, and even when I watch films, I watch action. Act things. I like, fist fights and stuff like that. So I like that, but I don't want to see the gore, of the violence, of the blood and all that kind of stuff. So when people, if people really desire that type of fiction, it is out there and it is pretty plentiful.
Oh, cool. Because I know I did one of the other authors. His name is Hurley Morgan. He writes in that lane of that genre as well, which I think is, like you said, it's clean, but it still has the action in it and the drama without all the cursing and all of the stuff.
That's for sure. And I really like that. I mean, I wasn't raised, that I don't want to see that. And there's enough of that on the news, which some of my stories are taken from the news, from the headlines. And so, but definitely toned down as far as shock value. So, I don't like to read that. And there's a whole class of people, groups of people that don't like. So there's something for everyone.
No, cool. So let's tell everybody why we're here today, and then get into just what people can expect from the Publishing and Writers Summit that's coming up this Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, so we're gonna start, off with some fun night.
Okay.
This Friday night, we're starting off on June 5th, about 6:30 p.m. So everybody has time to get off of work, get everybody fed, and then come on up, on Zoom and have a good time. We'll answer a lot of questions. There'll be 3 other authors plus myself, Austin Camacho, who writes thriller, and he also has his own conference, and he is a publisher as well. He's with Intrigue Publishing, which is out of Maryland. So he'll be joining us for really a panel. Beth Bahraini is a young adult and fantasy author. She'll be joining us. And then author David L. Winters. He writes nonfiction. And so I really wanted to get a mix of different people because everybody has something different that they want to write and different things. So a thriller author, a nonfiction author, David L. Winters wrote Taking God to Work. So it's been a really good bestseller, about, how we can get God back in the work setting and just remember our purpose and things along that lines. of how to, bring that with us. And so I thought that that would be interesting to writing from a faith-based perspective as well. And then a thriller author, and then young adult and fantasy fiction, is also really growing. So many kids at home right now, so many young adults, and really adults too, love young adult fantasy and fiction. But just something for everyone, whatever you're writing. I hope that the mix of people that we have, you'll be able to find things. And honestly, after you write the book, the publishing process is all the same for the different genres. The content is the only thing that's different. So we're starting on Friday night. Even when I do live presentations, I always have a goodie bag full of writer stuff. And so I'll be giving away prizes that will come directly from Amazon so we can continue to be COVID free. So I have a couple of prizes and things that we will do for the trivia before we go into the full on panel for the Friday night session. And then we'll break. And then the next day on Saturday, it's going to be 5 different authors, including myself. So I am just so excited and so thankful that you all are coming and agreed to come. You'll be in the morning, you're first up, because
I know, right?
I think you can handle the morning. I was like, let me put somebody in the morning so I don't have to do anything until while I drink my coffee, you can talk. So,
I'm a morning person, so that's good. That's cool. That's good.
You were, so that's why I put you in the morning. But I know you'll be talking about writing that book and 5 tools that you need to write the book inside of you, and I think people will really love that and find that interesting. Next up is my longtime friend, LaShonda Hoffman. She has her own online magazine, which she just stopped doing after 20 years of running that magazine. She'll be talking about building and maintaining your online presence.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to that because, now is the time with this COVID-19 that happened. All of your book events dried up. We haven't been to anything since February. February I had one event at the local library in Virginia, and it was awesome. And then things just went dark. And so when you really don't know how to promote yourself online, I have more connections online than I do, with live people. I mean, I love meeting people. I love seeing people. But I was so thankful for the online community, to go to when, especially as a single person, you're like, help me, who can I talk to, You're going to be like Tom Hanks in Castaway and draw, a face on a soccer ball and be like, hey, how you doing today? So she'll be talking about creating your own online presence and strategies. And she actually works with authors to do that. And she has some, what she calls tea sessions to do that and help guide authors, new authors and veterans, and online. She is a social butterfly, and that's what she calls all of us. At 11:30, I'll be doing elements of fiction. So almost like a checklist of everything you need for your fiction work. I've written, 13 books now, and there are things that you just need to have in order to make sure. And I think that's where a lot of people are struggling. It's like, I have this idea, but you don't have all the order that you need, first of all, and all the different components. David, as I mentioned, he's coming back from the panel on Friday night. He'll be back to do Getting Started with Nonfiction Books. And then just to wrap up is a USA Today best-selling author, Sierra London. She's written almost 20 books, and she was actually one of my students years ago when I taught at Northern Virginia Community College.
Really?
Like, I'm getting old. Like, my students are coming and eclipsing me. Like, how awful is this? But I'm just so proud of her. I'm so glad to know her. She's just a wonderful, nice person. She's made the USA Today bestseller list, and that's where we all want to be. So, with whatever book we have, we want to be there no matter what. So her session is at 1:30. And she'll be talking about marketing for authors, the indie authors specifically, because she has written almost 20 books and they are all indie published. And, marketing is a full-time job sometimes. You can spend all day and still not be done with your plan and with what to do. And so I just think that she'll be a wonderful wrap up, because you should think about marketing aspects even while you're writing, because there are things you need to do and get in place and to set up before the book comes out. So I'm just excited. This is almost my 5th year doing this conference. I have done it
Really?
live.
Okay.
I've always done it live in the area where I live, which is
Okay.
Northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were going to do it in Maryland. I was really excited about taking it to Maryland with a partner of mine, a business partner, a woman who runs a women's organization, Trish Lawton. And so she's like, why don't you bring the conference over here? And I was like, I would love to do that. And so bummed that that didn't happen, but we're going to carry on. She's still, a partner of mine, still helping to get everything organized and helping me just to expand my brand and do the conference and run it. And sadly, this will be my last online conference for the next year or so, only because I was recently elected president of the Washington Romance Writers Organization.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I don't want to do these two things for any conflict or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put this love, my little baby, down just for a year, or if I'm reelected, for 2 years, and really focus on that. But I put everything I've got into my events, try to make them fun, do the games. The trivia game, by the way, on Friday is about writing and publishing questions. So
Ah.
one question where you can win a prize is, how much does it cost to copyright your work for a single author?
Mm.
So if if you're registered for the conference, of course, you can come and answer that and win a prize. So just try to make things fun and entertaining and engaging. And one, really important thing I want people to know is that you meet people that you're going to need to build your book online. I have met editors, I've met graphic artists, everyone that I've met online, because there's almost an easier way to send an email and ask a question and then to kind of just work. I'm working day in and day out. And so when I'm online, I can send a quick email and get the information that I need. You can follow up with all of the authors that you're going to meet and the panelists this weekend. And then you can start to build your own network of people. And I think people underestimate, how long it takes to build online relationships and to get to know people. And that's really how you learn. So that's my goal and my hope for people, is that they will start to build those relationships and really, get their book done, obviously, and get inspiration to keep writing and finish the book. That's the goal. But that you can need to start building those relationships with people for your craft and your new venture or your old venture. Even if you've written a couple books, you still can come and learn some new strategies for promoting those books.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think that people have to really understand about establishing relationships, and like you said, not just having we've had to kind of shift to the online the online kind of thing that we're doing now, but even beyond that, having the connections and relationships, when especially if you're going to be a writer, understanding who your team needs to be comprised of and where you can find those individuals to develop those friendships, and how important that is. Because like you talked about, if I have for me as an author, if I need to understand about the marketing piece, I need to know somebody who knows and understands marketing. So if I come to an event like this, I can meet someone who may know the marketing better than I do, and I in turn can increase my skill set there. And I may have a skill set that somebody else is looking for, that I can enhance with the relationship. So yeah, relationships are huge, huge, and that's one of my things about building your brand, is about having those relationships, building relationships, because I learned this, that relationships are resources.
Right.
They really are. Relationships are resources. So um, tell people, what do you want the attendees to come away with from the event after it's all said and done, after the event is over? What do you want them coming away with it, whether it's notepad, What do you want them to come away with from the event?
Well, first and foremost, I'm always for people to have a good but educational time. You know, ultimately, I want you to finish and publish your book. Hopefully, you'll get the knowledge that you need in order to do that, and all the questions that you have had, or even the hiccups that you've run into, will be answered, and you can have a clear path for going forward and doing that. And to have a good time, as I mentioned, and to get unstuck. I think people start books. They have partials hidden in their drawer. They, just they get discouraged, and that's because the brain really is just a chaotic place sometimes to be, and it's looking for order and structure. And you get that, and you also get inspiration by listening to others and having a camaraderie and being able to get your questions answered from a number of different people. So after every author speaks, you'll be able to ask questions of them to get information. I always share my editor who is looking for work. One of the hardest things sometimes to find is an editor that really understands the genre and what you want to do, and really clean up your work and make it very presentable and logical in a kind of sequence. There's an order to all books. It's not just keep writing in a bunch of paragraphs and I'm done.
Yeah.
So it has to have clarity and be concise, and depending on what genre you're using to make sense and fit that genre. So I know people always express having a great time at my previous events and really learning a lot, and then building those connections. But the ultimate goal is for you to publish your book that you have or that you started, or even if you just want to do a blog. A lot of books start out as blogs, and there have been people who have gotten deals just from the blog followers and the content of their blogs. So there are a number of ways that we'll talk about to also move forward. Even just, a couple articles every week about a certain subject, and there is your entire book in a blog. And so you have to think outside the box to getting your book done. And also, another tip is that I actually talk a lot of my books. I talk into the microphone. I don't use Dragon, but it's similar to Dragon. It's available on your phone for free. And you just use the mic and you just start talking. And a lot of that I send to myself, copy and paste it wherever I am. If I'm in the car, if I'm going to the doctor or an event, just talking and just thinking aloud, and then cut and paste what I've written or what I've talked into the document once I get home, or once I get to the main document at the house. So, those are the things that you'll learn. Like, everyone can't type fast, but you can talk. More of us than not can have a lot to say. And so we can just put that into, and that's one way. And there are other ways we're going to share too. Just these insider secrets that you get sometimes about how to get your book done. Non-traditional ways to do that.
Yeah, and I liken it to, this is the place that you come, and to me, this is the place that you come where you're not going to find this kind of information everywhere, readily available. They're going to be, like you said, the tips and the secrets and the inside stuff that not everybody is going to tell you, that you can use to be able to get you to whatever that next level is with you in your book, whether it's getting it from your head, or I got it in my head, but I don't know how to get it from my head to on paper, or I got it on paper. Now what do I do? Those kind of the next step, whatever the next step of what it is that you want to do. So who is this? Who's this summit for? Who should come to this summit?
Yeah, so anybody who believes that they have a book inside of them and is interested in learning how to get it out and start writing. Honestly, even when I go to conferences, I'm still working on my book. So I listen to people and they inspire thoughts and ideas. And so it's for anyone who has some ideas and things. Your book does not have to be completed. Your book does not have to be even, page one, sentence one on the page. It could be in a notebook, in a journal. And so people who have a book, and even if you have already published a book, maybe it didn't have the takeoff and the success that you wanted and intended, well, that just means that you need to get the tools to make the next book better, or you can even slap a new cover on your existing book, do a couple of different things, get some feedback, do some editing, and just re-release it. You know, people underestimate that people re-release books all the time.
Time.
And it's the same story, but it's been fixed and it's been enhanced. So if you have a couple books already out, they're not going the way you wanted, then come and learn what you can do to fix that book and what you can do to make it better, and do the steps that you missed and the pitfalls that you didn't avoid this next time around. So people who have a couple books have a bunch of books. And the other thing is that I never stopped learning. I never stopped going to conferences, even with 12 and 13 books. It is a constant, it is a lifetime thing that I will be doing. I still go to conferences, beginner conferences, upper level conferences, conferences for people who, make six figures with their books. I think it's important to never stop learning this craft and to see what different people have to say about it and what worked for them. And so all of the people that I'm including have experience with books and with sales, and with followers, for the engagement and the social media. So people who have a book inside of them that is not quite done, not quite fleshed out, and those who have written and released books already can also find value at our event.
Yeah, and people shouldn't sleep on, like you said, the doing revisions or what I call the remixes, the remixes of
2.0.
books, because that can always, like you said, there can be some things that you can tweak, or that you may want to tweak in the book, and you do your tweaking. Like you said, you put a new cover on it, and you re-release it, and you go through that whole same process of marketing again with it, and putting it back out there so that people can know about it. Trust me, there have been many CDs and many books that have been 20th anniversary books, and and 20th anniversary CDs and all of those things. So those are things that that you can actually understand and come to learn. And like you said, even if you already have a book out, learning, there's your technology is always adding to what we do.
Yes.
And industries are always changing. So you always want to keep your skills sharp, and you always want to find out what's new, or what's happening and going on in the writing industry and the publishing industry. And events like this assist you in being able to do that. So that's one of the things that you definitely want to do. So I know we mentioned a little bit before, but what are some of the topics that you're going to be covering in this publishing and writers summit?
Yeah, so the topics, are about writing a nonfiction book. Nonfiction is, a lucrative market that people can enter. And one of the things I love about nonfiction is that most people who journal already have endless ideas in those journals for a book. And when you go through that and you see some of the life lessons and
Mm,
experiences that you have, I recommend people highlight, up to 10 things in that book, 12 or 10 or 12 themes, recurring things that they see and they read through and read how they changed and how they grew on their journey, on this journey called life. And there's your book. You're just going to flesh it out. You're just going to maybe beef it up as far as the word length or the word count. And there's your book. So really nonfiction, whether it's just informational or how to, or if it's personal and inspiring and self-help. Those Some of those things are written in. I actually write nonfiction, and I've only written 2 books so far, nonfiction, because my heart is in fiction. Written nonfiction in a matter of a month. If I really
really?
work on it, I have all the topics through just lived experiences. Some of the other topics are, write that book inside of you, 5 tools you need to write the book inside of you, marketing for the indie author, and building and maintaining your online presence. And then on Friday, it's going to be a free for all. We will talk about all kinds of topics because there'll be four of us and we're all going to share our experience as far as just getting started. I have a very unconventional way of getting a book contract for my first three books.
Really? Okay.
I won a contest hosted by a publisher, a publishing house. And so I submitted my book. I, prayed about over it and I almost laid hands on the package I was going to mail. This is almost 20 years ago when I still was mailing stuff. And I was like, this is going to change my life. And I actually won, the contest and I got a trip to New York. I got a $500 advance. And I got a luncheon in New York. There was the luncheon that they hosted for me to, announce the winner. It was a press release that went out. And this was years ago. And winning that, got my foot in the door with a large publishing house and under contract for two more books. So there are two other unconventional ways that I'm going to talk about on Friday night about how to get the book. And I also want to remind people that we have two ticket options, and one is a VIP option, which includes a 60-minute call with me to talk about your idea, talk about your book, and I'll even read the first 10 pages if you have it. And you have a year to use this call, and that will be in the VIP ticket. So there's that. And then the big prize that I'm giving away is a 1-year subscription to Masterclass. Masterclass has over probably 100 people from Steph Curry to Spike Lee, and they're all doing classes that you can take.
Really? Okay.
And I will draw a winner, but only for those who have VIP tickets. So I love Masterclass. They keep hoodwinking me because I keep paying every subscription. I say, this is my last year. I'm going to do a subscription and I'm going to take all the classes. I've almost taken all the writing classes with James Patterson, Judy Blume, who was my favorite author as a child. And I first even just signed up so I could take writing for television with Shonda Rhimes.
Wow.
The queen of writing for television, she did a master class. So one lucky VIP ticket holder their name will be drawn on Saturday after Sierra London's session, and they will enjoy a 1-year subscription at our expense to take all of those classes and to get all of that wonderful information and really to keep going. I mean, the workbooks in Masterclass, Shonda Rhimes' workbook was amazing. It was just so wonderful. And I printed out almost all of them. I even took a comedy writing class with Steve Martin. And so, because sometimes I want to add humor to my fiction work.
Right.
I'm just humorous all the time anyway. But so just the workbooks alone, even if you take just one class and the resources, and she even gives a script, a whole script for for Grey's Anatomy episode and Scandal. So that is just so worth it, I think, as a bonus, for being a VIP. So I'm excited about that.
Definitely. So tell everybody how they can register. We want to get folks to register. So how can they register for the
Yeah, they can go to Eventbrite and they can type in Writing and Publishing Summit and it will come up. It does still say it's in the capital region, and that's why it was going to be live, but it's all virtual. It's all on Zoom, and I'm sure we'll also post a link below this on the live. So it's an Eventbrite ticket, and we're going to sell tickets even up to Saturday, because you can still come Saturday morning, and just by being a ticket holder, you'll get the recordings. So if you're a paid ticket holder, even if you don't show up for most of the event Friday and Saturday, we'll still do the recordings and send them to you.
That's cool. That's cool. Now talk. I know you did this at the beginning, but let's talk a little bit about the some of the presenters that are going to be there again, just to remind people of this lineup that you put together.
I'm going to turn the tables a little bit, but you're coming. So can you tell me and the rest of everybody what you're going to tell us about writing that book? You can't tell us all the tools because we can't
Right,
give away
right.
stuff, but what is the gist of your presentation going to be about?
Well, my presentation is going to be about write that book, giving you the five, like you said, the five tools to writing that book that's in you. And what I do is, or what I will be doing, is taking the attendees kind of through the process, the publishing process of putting their book together. From I got this book in my head, I don't know how to get it out, and formulating, getting it on paper, and then how to even get it from your head to on paper, how that process works. And like you come from the fiction perspective, mine is mainly from the nonfiction because the books that I've written have been nonfiction. So there's a different mindset I think that goes into writing, because yours is develops characters and everything like that, whereas mine with the nonfiction has to do with the development of what it is that we're putting together. Whether it's I want to give you ideas on branding, or if I want to give you 5 steps to doing this or doing that, where I take you through the process of putting that all together, putting your table of contents together, understanding the marketing, how marketing plays into, like you and I talked about, how marketing plays into your the writing process, which you need to be thinking about from a marketing perspective. How do you even once you've developed the content, how do you write each chapter? What does each chapter need to entail to make it so that it flows? Because you mentioned it before, there should be a flow to every single book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. It has to be a flow. Some of those mistakes that we make, because I learned, and I don't know about you, but I learned some of the things the hard way about what not to do. And I'm talking something that I sit back and I laugh about now, but even the font size.
Mm,
I was like, oh, I mean, you talking about not knowing anything when I first started writing, and making a mistake with not having the right font size, not having the flow of the book. I'll just give you a really quick example. I was editing one of my clients, and who's a friend too. He wrote a suspense thriller book, which is really great. One of the best type of fiction books that I've read, suspense thriller books. But he asked me to read it
mhm.
prior. He was like, I got this manuscript. I want you to tell me, read it, give me your opinion on it. And the gist of the story was about these two brothers that come to find out about each other because they were separated at birth, but they find out about each other when their dad is killed, when their father's killed. One was raised in an Asian family over in Asia. The other one was here in Baltimore, but they find out about each other when their father gets killed. Well, the Asian brother, or the brother that was raised over in Asia, was a ninja, a special agent.
Yeah.
And the way that he had it originally, he had talked about the brother that was here in Baltimore first. Then he went over to Asia, talked about the other brother, and then he brought the brother that was over in Asia here because of the death. And what I mentioned to him, I said, "Hey, how about you start the book with the special agent special agent brother, because I mean the way he talked about him and introduced him, it was just like, oh man, I'm into this." I said
Right,
that way you catch them right away with him, and he's got to come here to the States anyway. So you introduce him, and then you bring him here, and then you can introduce the other brother, his character, and talk to him about it. So it's just little things like that that help you to be able to flow. And when he and I talked about it, he was like, yeah man, that kind of makes sense. So that's what I'll talk about, things like that, about understanding the flow. I'll give you some assignments. Yes, you will have some homework to be able to do, to be able to do from there. But it's giving you just those kind of insights to writing and publishing, and getting your book out there so that it can be so that it can accomplish what it is that you want it to accomplish.
That's great. And you were almost, really, even though he was your client, you were kind of a beta reader. I mean, you were
Mhm.
really being a test
Absolutely.
which we'll talk about probably in the panel. People always want to know, beta readers versus editors and such, and some of the differences. One of the things that I wanted to mention too is we have another author on the panel day, and that is Peter Pollack. And Peter is actually from Maryland, but he is on because when I heard his story about being an older writer, he
Mhm.
didn't start writing until he was in his 60s.
Oh
And,
wow. Mhm.
and he's already written, 7 or 8 books and
Mhm.
published them. And so I think that, writing is for such a wide array and types of people, and that it's really never too late to write your book. And another one final example is just I encourage my mom to write. I
Did
want
you?
me her to write a book, which she hasn't yet. And I keep pushing her. I'm like, hey, just start something, just a couple sentences and I'll be your ghostwriter. But it hasn't, but she did write one um, kind of like an angel visited her. What I mean by that is that she was, I don't know if she was broke down or something happened with the van that she uses for me to transport, and it has a ramp and it has everything that it needs on it, an accessible vehicle. And she wrote about, an angel kind of helping her in the midst of that, which is really just a good Samaritan. I don't mean any woo woo. I'm not talking about any angel coming down from heaven, but just that she talked about the good Samaritan, a man that helped and, helped. I think they might have even paid for the battery. She wrote that and I encouraged her to write it, just a little one pager, and submitted it to Woman's World.
Oh wow.
Woman's
Okay.
World is the magazine that you always see in the grocery store.
Mhm.
She submitted that and they actually accepted it and they paid her for it. She got the picture of the check and the issue that it came out in, and I was like, "We over here making writers. Don't sleep on Tracee. She will encourage you." So she wrote that, and it was just so fun. And we bought a bunch of copies at the grocery store, and gave them out to friends. Like,
Oh cool.
my mom wrote this little article, and so we can use writing for anything, for any purpose, for anything that you are going through. It's also just
Mm.
very cathartic for
Yes.
the rest of the day. Definitely. And so just, writing has always been such a wonderful gift to me that I, prayed for. And so I just love bringing people together to talk about that and to cultivate new groups of writers and new people that want to get their story out and have it told. And so it can resonate with hopefully the masses, but even just a couple thousand is good too. So because marketing is hard. It's a whole other thing, but you're going to learn tools to do that, and it's going to be great.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I've learned since becoming an entrepreneur, but then also a writer, how important marketing is to your brand, to you, your business, and your brand. It's a nonstop thing when it comes to your when it comes to marketing, because I've always, like you said, you could work from morning to night and be doing nothing but marketing, and you still feel like, man, I didn't get nothing done today. you know so it is so true, and I hope that people understand and what they're going to be getting, and I'll add this and then we can close out. When it comes to summits, conferences, and everything like that, I look at and I got this from several years ago when I went to it was an entrepreneur conference that had Dr. Cindy Trim as the um, keynote, and I evaluate myself with going to events and even hosting events on this thing. That was the event that I went to that I got so much knowledge, information, and resources from, and that's how I gauge how and what I want to either be a part of, and in those things that I conduct myself. I want people to come away with those three things. I want you to have the knowledge that you need, the information that you need, and the resources that you need, because that gives you the tools. It gives you the teaching that you need, and it gives you, to me, the lasting that impact that you need in order to be able to go out and do what it is that you want to do. Because I've tagged myself the impact chaser, and events like this impact people because you have a group of people that will come together and their writing will impact thousands and millions of people. So yeah, I'm being a part of this. I will tell people you will come away with, because I know Tracee, I know her mission and her goal is for people to come away with those tools that you need, that information and knowledge that you need to be able to come away with. And you'll come away with in such a way that you will not only be impacted, but you will be able to impact others, and you'll change the world as a result of it. So um, I say that because that's what you'll come away with as well. I promise you, you will come away with that from this event. It is put together 5 star, because that's who Tracee is, 5 star. Ain't no half stepping with her in my Dougie Fresh in my Dougie Fresh voice. So we want y'all to come out. Give the dates again, how they can register and all of that good stuff
Yep.
as well.
So it starts this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so don't let that your location be a deterrent. Wherever you are, you can participate. So come join us Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again, we'll be back together on Saturday, starting early with Leroy at 9:30. Get your breakfast and your coffee. I'll be drinking my coffee while he's talking. And we'll have a good time. You can go to eventbrite.com. It's actually writing and publishing summit, eventbrite.com. And so it is there, and we will also link it below.
Absolutely. So we want y'all to not only, we don't want you to just come, but we want you to share it with others who you believe that this is going to be good for. So if you got that friend, if you got that mama, like Tracee said, that needs to write that book, they got that book inside of them, telling this is an event that they should be a part of,
It
that they
could
want to
be
come
an
to.
early Father's Day gift
Ah,
for your dad who wants to write, always reading. You know he has a book in him, so why not inspire him by doing that so he can learn and participate. And anyone really, but definitely.
absolutely, absolutely. So y'all know what it is. Like I told y'all, this is 2020. We moving fast and furious, move with purpose and passion. This is one of those events that will give you for those that have a purpose and passion for writing, for publishing, and being able to impact people with their words or with their blogs in any kind of way you want to be here at this particular event. And as I always say, chase the impact, because when you chase the impact, it changed the world. And Miss Tracee Garner is one of those people that impacts the world. She's an impact chaser. So Tracee, thank you for joining me, taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you.
And and I will see you Friday and Saturday for the event, because we going, like you said, we're gonna have fun too. We're gonna have some fun as well. So I want to thank everybody for joining in. If you can share, share, comment, all those good things with this as well, we'd appreciate it. And we'll hopefully see y'all Friday as well too. So we'll talk to y'all soon. Make sure I get